Give one more minute, and then we'll start. We have some people online that are joining us remotely. For anyone who came in, if you haven't signed in already, there are sign-up sheets on either side of the room. It might be helpful. We just like to keep track of who's coming to the meetings, and that would be great. Thanks. Okay, so here we are, Tableau user group. I'm Tara Sadler. I work for IHETUG. You might have seen me before, but I do see some new faces, so that's fantastic. Thanks for coming. Today, we're going to we have a couple presenters. Chris Lehman, Honey Budgeting, is going to talk about and do a demo on a dashboard he's created for transfer students. Then we're going to talk about the upgrade that's coming up for 2018.2. Tableau has changed their versioning to now, instead of the version of the actual software, they're going to do the year, and then their upgrade, like a 2018.2 is, and actually 2018.3 is coming out, but we're going to be upgrading to 2018.2 on the server. That is scheduled to be coming up this weekend. However, just recently, in the last couple of days, we noted there was some noting of some performance issues, so we just rebooted the server, and we're doing some extra testing today to ensure that the it's performing at the level that we want to move forward with the. So we're going to move forward as if we are going to be upgrading this weekend. So if you guys haven't had an opportunity, please go up to the upgrade server. The link, I do have the link, and I'll be sending out these slides after today's meeting. So if you have any dashboards in production and you want to test them on the upgrade server, please do so. And that's available for you to do that to ensure that your dashboards are most of the time there's no issues, we've noticed, but it's a good check nonetheless. And if you have any questions, there's also a link that you can sign up to, so we'll certainly monitor that and get back to you if needed. Just one note, and I want to give it to everybody because we have a lot of really good stuff today, and so basically it'll take up all the time. Right now is Tableau conference. I'm not sure if any of you have had an opportunity to go to the conference or not in the past, but it is truly a motivational and incredible way for you to see what Tableau can do. It is amazing. There is a link on the Tableau website that you can go to, and it is for Tableau. It's basically, they call it Tableau Live, or Tableau Conference Live. It's an opportunity to watch some of the sessions as they're happening. And then post-conference, they put out an amazing amount of sessions that you can watch and as if you were there, and there's a lot of them. So take opportunity to do that if you weren't able to go to the actual conference. I watched yesterday the Iron Viz. I watched Devs on Stage. There's just a couple things that they're going to be putting out for 2019 that are amazing. Right off the bat, I'm like excited and charged up, and I know that there's some people from the campus that have been able to go, and I can't wait for them to come back, and I'm going to be right there asking them, hey, what are you guys going to be doing for the next Tableau user group? So just a couple things I noted, and we'll go into them at the next Tableau conference and Tableau user group. So things like transparent vizzes and toggle filters, buttons, vector tile maps, encrypted extracts. Holy cow, that's awesome. Parameter actions, and there's just so much. So what you're going to hear today is also Trevor Jennings. He works for AIT. Yes, he's on our team, and he's going to talk to you about some of the new features that are coming along with 2018.2, which are that you can showcase some of those. And then Ashley Halleck is going to be talking, having a discussion primarily about some of the challenges that we have with data preparation. This is not building whizzes. This is what the data is and what our everyday challenges. We hear people give us feedback about, okay, that's great, Tableau can build, but we have so many challenges when it comes to data and how we're preparing that. So without taking up any more time, I'm going to hand it over to Chris.
Literally hand it over to
I am going to literally hand that over to you.
I'll wire it up here. This is working. Okay. Can you hear that all right? Kind of? A little? Maybe I should clip it a little higher.
Did you flip it down?
All right, we'll check.
There's a little button.
There we go. Okay, great. So yeah, thanks, Tara. I always like to hear Tara talk about Tableau. She gets like so excited about it and gets me excited about it. I don't know if I'll be able to match her level of enthusiasm, but I'll try. I'm going to show you today a project that I did actually fairly quickly with Tableau, which is one of the nice things about Tableau. Some pretty nice data visualization work in short order. Where the task was take some already existing data, already existing graphs, and see what you can do with it in Tableau. So, what I was trying to do was take bar charts, turn them into something interactive, and I started thinking about trends for students kind of move from one place to the other. So I thought, well, maybe we could use a Sankey chart. And I think a couple of years used Sankey charts before. Sankey charts are not a built-in chart type in Tableau, so you have to get a little bit creative to do it. I also wouldn't recommend Sankey charts for just anything. I actually have been using Tableau for like 6 years, and this is the first time I've ever used a Sankey chart. So this seemed like a perfect application. So there are a couple different options here for building Sankey charts. You could build it from scratch in Tableau, and there's also YouTube videos and blogs. You can go to the forum and they'll teach you all about that, but it's pretty hard to do. It involves polygons, and involves just a lot of data gymnastics, I guess is a way to put it. And it's also hard to hand this over to somebody else. So if I create this and then I say, okay, now you're going to maintain this, it's difficult for them to do. So I actually was looking forward to this one of the new features in 2018.2, which is dashboard extension. There's actually this company that's created this thing called Show Me More. Now Tableau has Show Me, so it's a Show Me More. And you can see on the chart here, or on the slide here, that this is an example of a Sankey chart. And this vendor has created this Show Me More thing where you can just put your data in and it does all the hard polygon work for you. Which sounded great, and then I started playing around with it and I found out that if you use the free version, there's a big watermark in there that shows you use a free version. I'm willing to pay for it if it's good. But even the pay version, you can't really customize it. It's kind of like a black box. You put your data in, you get your data out like this. I couldn't even change the colors. I don't know if they're going to fix that in a future version or what. But and really made me uncomfortable is I had to share, the data has to go over the internet, the vendor, the summary data, not the granular person level data, but even that I wasn't feeling too good about. And then if you wanted to put this on the Tableau server, then you'd have to talk to our friendly admins at the ITS, and not that they wouldn't talk to you about it and consider it, but this was just too much, especially since I was trying to do this quickly. So finally, I came across a template that was created by a fellow employee at Bucknell University, a fellow higher ed employee, named Ken Flairlage, and he's actually fairly recently been named one of the Tableau Zen Masters, which is, if you follow Tableau stuff, it's a pretty huge honor. Very few people are made Zen Masters. So he created this template. I don't know if I can bring this up or not. Let's see. That was what I wanted. Well, the link doesn't work, but I think the slides will be provided after the fact, so you can just follow the link. There's not much to show there other than you can go to his website, You can download the Tableau workbook, you can download the Excel spreadsheet, and then basically he's done all the polygon work for you to make it look nice, to make it look how it's supposed to look, and then you just plop your data in, and you've got it. And you can publish it to the Tableau server. It works. So, and also customizable. I can change the colors. I can do whatever I want with it. And one note about that too, Ken, super nice guy. I had an issue. I was trying to do something custom with his workbook. Couldn't figure it out, so I thought, I'll just drop him an email. So he got back to me like 2 hours later and said, oh yeah, this is how you do it. So I thought that was really fantastic. So this is what I was starting with. That actually is a nice way to visualize the data. Sometimes bar charts are all you need. This is showing you transfers to the U of I. The total number, this top graph is the total number of people who are transferring in a particular year. I think this was a couple of years ago. To the Urbana-Champaign campus, to Chicago, to the Springfield University of our system. So it's pretty obvious from this. The Chicago University actually has more transfers than the others. And then at the bottom is a more detailed display, a breakout of by the different universities. It's a little hard to see, but is it a public university that they're coming from? Is it a community college? Is it a for-profit school? There's very few of those transferring to universities, etc. So the first Sankey that I made actually combines these two charts into one. So you end up with this. If you haven't seen a Sankey before, it may take a little while to wrap your head around what you're looking at. And that is one of the disadvantages of Sankey versus just a regular chart. So think of it as, I'm going to step away from it for a second. Think of it as stacked bars on the left and right that add up to 100%. So these are proportions of 100%. Same thing here. This will add up to 100% of the data that you're trying to display. So you have to think about the proportion on the left, the proportion on the right, and then the flows that connect them are showing you also, a size. And it's not, it might make a little more sense if I actually show you on the dashboard itself, because when you hover over, then you can see the numbers. So let me just break out here real quick if I can. And just get into Tableau server. You see that? Yeah, good. Transfers. Okay. This is live on the server. There we go. Okay, so that's the same thing we were just looking at in the slide. And then if I want to see how many students transferred to the Chicago campus, 2,181, or like I said, it's a proportion. 53% of all the University of Illinois transfers went to the Chicago University. There's Urbana, 1,380, 33%, and Springfield, 528, 12.9%. So of course, you can interact with this. You can see now if I hover over here, if I want to look at how many community college students transferred to UIC, 1,459. There were fewer, obviously, just based on this flow, 790 that went to Urbana. So you can interact with it. I could click on just certain things. One thing that's nice about this is I could click on this and exclude, or keep only, sorry. And I can just see Chicago. Some people have said, oh, I want to see just Chicago. So that's the way you can do that. Just going to go back. But this gives you that visual of what's happening across all of the universities of the University of Illinois, and where, not surprisingly, most of them are community college transfers. There's a fairly large proportion of out-of-state. So this is all good, but you want to know more, obviously. And one of the things I did to allow you to find out more is I used the stories feature in Tableau. So this is also the first time that I've used this, although I've seen a lot of people do this. It's really nice because you can just set up these kind of predefined views, and you can highlight things that your audience is interested in. And I knew, for instance, that they were particularly interested in city colleges of Chicago. So I gave them a view with the story. If they just click on that, now you're just seeing the city colleges of Chicago and where, which schools are sending the most transfers. Obviously, it's Harold Washington College. Which ones are not as much? Kennedy King. Where are they going? Well, they're mostly going to UIC, which kind of makes sense since these are Chicago schools, but some go to Urbana as well. So you can set up as many of these views as you want. The way I did this was I just created a single dashboard, and I set up quick filters across the top. And for each of these views, I set the filters how I wanted it, and then I turned it into a story, and I floated a white text box over the filters so you can't see them. And you can't click on them either. So they're there, but this allowed me, instead of have to create 6 dashboards, just create one dashboard, set the filters how I wanted it, and I added it to the story. Go back to my slides here. I'm going to just go back to the slides just to make this quicker for this part. I could show you all the stories, but this was a view of the data that we had before. This was all community colleges in the state, and the number that transfer by college to the various universities of the U of I system. So you can see City Colleges of Chicago pretty prominently there. This actually works pretty well. I wanted to show you this because I don't think this works well. Sankey chart. Maybe a bar chart is really better for this particular view. You've got just too many things on the left. There's so many schools that are just small enough that they just kind of pop out. Although you could argue the other way too. You could say, well, maybe in some cases you don't really, it's not you don't care, but you want to see the ones that are popping out. And this shows ones pop out. So. But just a warning, sometimes I wasn't really thrilled with how the Sankeys came out. We already looked at this one. This was actually my favorite one. So this one I thought worked very well in a Sankey visualization. This is showing transfers between the different universities. So to me, on the bar graph, this was a little hard to understand. I kind of keep reading the labels, and I'm like, okay, wait, UIC to UIC, UIC to UIC, I don't know. It just was like, I'm not sure I'm really getting it visually from the bar. So this, I thought, was very useful in terms of seeing, okay, how many are going from UIC to Urbana, how many are going from Urbana to UIC. So you've got that back and forth, and it's pretty clear that you've got a lot going from Urbana to UIC. So this was kind of interesting to us when we were looking at the visualization. We've looked at the numbers before, but we haven't seen it visually, and we thought, we're surprised by that. So decided to use Tableau to dig into it. So this is a very similar representation, but this is actually a separate dashboard that I created. And you can actually see my filters across the top. I thought I'd give you a peek behind the curtain. So in this case, I just set I can't use this. So I just went from Urbana, Urbana to UIC, and I broke it down by the majors after they transferred. So as you can clearly see, nursing, BSN, over on the left, is the main contributor to this transfer. And that's interesting because that's a planned transfer program. So this isn't like, oh, things aren't working out here, or there's a program somewhere else that I want to go into, whatever, so I'm going to transfer. This is, you enter Urbana in this program, and you will transfer to UIC, because that's where the medical school is, to finish out. So it actually did make sense, and you could think about, if you wanted to do another view of the data, you could maybe take these out, say, well, those are planned transfers. So take out the planned transfers, and then you can see who are the regular transfers for lack of a better term. So was it successful? I think yes, because I sent it to the person who asked for it, and they said, it's great, with 3 exclamation points in an email. But then they asked me for more. So I was like, great, I was very successful. I was too successful. they wanted now to see not just the students who are transferring, is this backwards here? Yeah, they wanted to see students who are transferring out of the U of I instead of transferring in. So transferring in is kind of like the positive story. Like, oh yeah, we're having all these students, we're providing a pathway, et cetera, et cetera. Transferring out would be more, okay, they're leaving, we don't really know why, but they're going to go somewhere else. So they wanted to look at that. Now, we don't have that kind of data because they don't have to tell us where they're going. When they leave, they leave. We do have, I was able to find that the Illinois Board of Higher Education has summary data on transfers to other Illinois schools. So this is what we can get. We can get, if you're at the University of Illinois, one of the universities, and then you transfer to ISU, or you transfer to a community college in Illinois, we have that data. If you transfer to University of Michigan, we don't have it. No way we can get it right now. So I just created another very similar Sankey chart in Tableau, where you can see at a very high level, this is as detailed as the data is going to get, where people are going when they're leaving Urbana or Chicago or Springfield. Are they going to community colleges? Are they going to private schools? So they're mostly going to community colleges. Not really that surprising, but it was interesting to take a look at it and see what we could see. And I broke it out into the stories, just like we did on the other dashboard at the top as well. But I won't go over that. So just to wrap it up, Sankey charts are really easy, customizable using Ken's template. And since this is a Tableau specific audience, maybe I should just tell you a little bit how you use this template. So I mentioned you download his workbook, you download an Excel spreadsheet, and in the sheet there are two different tabs. One of the tabs has all the math, basically, to make the polygons work. So it's not, when you look at it, it's really not that complicated. It's just a series of rows that has numbers that kind of start like at 6 and then go down to 0 by increments, and then they go back up. It's like it starts at a negative and goes to 0 and then goes to a positive. There's a couple other columns, and then there's a column called link. So you just need to put in your data another column called link, and then you join the two, and you could do it. I actually ended up doing it in a SQL Server database. I just took his special polygon table and put it in my database, and I joined them with a view. But you could also just do this in Excel like he has it. So if you just want the really easy route, you just get his Excel sheet, you put your data in the other tab. There's a column for from, there's a column for to, and then there's a value. And that's it, you're done. So I was actually really impressed with how easy that was. I'll also mention too that Ken has other templates out on his website. He kind of is taking this idea and running with it. So he's got, I think, a sunburst chart. I don't remember what else he has. All sorts of really interesting stuff that's not built into Tableau. That it's like, here you go, plop it in Excel, you've got it. Also, another point, just to wrap up, stories are really a great way to walk your users through the data. Instead of having them play with filters and drop-down menus or whatever, especially the audience I was working with who were administrators, it's best to just say, click here, and even if you can kind of go at a level of granularity like I was doing in the stories, like start at the big picture, and as you work your way through it, end up, looking at transfers even just between our own universities. It's a pretty low-level view. That seems to be like, I'm glad I used that story feature the first time I used it. I thought it worked well. And of course, if you're successful, people are going to ask you to do more. Keep us in business. So that's all I have. I wanted to leave some time for questions, if anybody had any questions. I don't know who was first. Yeah, go ahead.
How closely is it back to that notification?
It should be very possible. So this is just a regular dashboard in Tableau. You can either embed it with an iframe, or I think there's a JavaScript version you can use as well. I've done it before with other dashboards. I haven't done it with this one. But one thing to keep in mind with this one, though, It requires a login, and that's on purpose. So yeah, so that one, I've embedded public dashboards. I haven't, I guess, embedded ones that require login, but I know some of our AITS folks on decision support can chime in, I'm sure.
So if you go to answers.illinois.edu, there are instructions for how to embed using the iframe into a website.
Chris, for folks can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, is it answers.uillinois?
I think it's answers.illinois.
Illinois.answers.illinois.edu has a full set of directions for how to embed Tableau dashboards onto any web page. And I've looked at those directions actually. They're very good.
I literally have Googled Tableau, University of Illinois, embedding visualization, and it'll come up. Instructions. But if you have any additional questions, you can always send us an email and send you a link.
Sure.
Mike Wells in college of fine arts and reflection and right there. Your visualization in particular, it's just also how we're changing the touch on process. And we have recruiters on the blog that have this information specific on our knowledge. And even inter-college transfers, knowing where transfers are coming into our college can help our recruiters really focus in those resources where they spend time with those kinds of things. And is this visualization available for everybody? Is this available for the one person that you asked for?
Yeah, right now it's just available to a very select few. I'm glad you said that though, because I think if there is interest beyond the select few, I can take that back to people that I work with and say, well, we might want to consider letting other people look at this as well. I mean, I do have, I work at planning and budgeting, so we're an institutional research office, and we have, granular data that we work with all the time. So I would imagine those kind of details are in the data in terms of the specific colleges and departments. I'm not 100% sure. I have to go back and just look at our data source that we're basing this on. But of course, if you make it public, then you have to think about a small number of ends. Like, we don't want to show if there's one student on a certain department or whatever. We maybe can't display that, things like that. So yeah, I mean, I can take that back and see if there is a way we can make that more publicly available. And right now it doesn't allow those kind of drill downs, so I would have to modify it a bit, obviously, to do that. But
if you did make that available, and look at that, I heard design the one where it will come from our design, right? But then also like, well, which the interest one coming to, right?
Yeah, and there are a lot of different ways you can take these Sankey charts, and I've seen flows for a student starts in a particular college and ACEs or whatever, and then how do they end up by the time they graduate? How many times do they change their major or change their college? So you can do that. That would be kind of a multiple. The flow I had was just like a single one to the other, but you can also do like here 4, 5, 6 different boxes, along the way. So yeah, I could check into that. That's kind of a wishy-washy answer.
Can you repeat?
And just to repeat on the phone too, if anybody didn't hear that, that was Mike, and he was asking if we can make the dashboards more public that can allow maybe a college or department view. So.
I'm with the and we have a meeting on Monday called all associating programs of extension. Each colleges, we're doing an intra-college transfer project. So, some of that is, at least within.
Cool. So yeah, what was your name?
Ryan Young.
Ryan. Okay, yeah. So Ryan was just saying that they have some data at OMSA. Is that right? Yeah. OMSA. And they might be able to share some of that as well. So, Trevor?
I just asked you to repeat the questions for the people online. Thank you.
I kind of remembered almost too late. Any other questions?
Like you mentioned that requires a landing. So let's say you have a all that.
Yeah.
besides logging login. Yes.
Right. So I'll repeat the question again. So the question is, if you have like a departmental website and you have a login there, would you have to log in again here to access this? And again, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I mean, you can do it different ways. So I would say you could not require an extra login and just make your dashboard public. There may be some implications on the server side to that if other people on the server might be able to see it. I don't know about that, but yeah, you could just like embed it in a page that's behind a login, and then they just log in once. The way I've got this set up and the way that the Tableau server here works is it's all with Active Directory groups. So if you create a group and then you add people to that group and then you set it so that only the group can access it, then only those people, you're going to get prompted for the login, and only those people can view it. So you could set it public in a way, and then you wouldn't get prompted for that login that you saw me log in to the server with. You would just embed it and be good to go. Did I get that right?
You did. The only complication that if you don't actually in through your website access the dashboard, and you would just use the URL if it was made public, and so you would like skip that step of going into the actual department webpage that's being prompted, and you just put in the link you have. It was sensitive data of any sort that there would be a way for somebody to go through your back door. So I'm just going to keep that in mind, but I would imagine that anybody who's looking on the web pages, web server, you can have a conversation with them about training, maybe some credentials. I've worked with some people. It depends on a couple of different areas. So, but what you said was right.
And we all love issue use the scale logging.
Yeah, Tableau server will take care of the security from how you all set it up on your folder structures and your Active Directory groups. So.
Yeah, and I'll just say too, I've had great experiences working with the decision support folks and Jayesh. I don't think is he here? No. But he's always very responsive, and if you need to set up an Active Directory group to secure your Tableau workbooks, they'll do it very quickly and get you exactly what you need. So. Yeah. Charlie.
Online question. Can you shed some light on how this data and visualizations have been beneficial to the college? Have there been cases where this information was put to use?
Good question. So yeah, just in case no one heard that through the mic, has anyone actually used this? Is maybe the short answer. Has anyone used this to make a decision or done anything with it? I don't know. I would say, here's the thing. I did this really quickly. It was kind of seriously like an evening kind of project. Now, to get it pretty presentable, to just really feel like I could share it, I did have to do more than an evening's worth of work. But it was like, let's see if we can do this in Tableau. And in that evening, yes, I did it. I was done in a way. So actually kind of spurred by Tara asking me if I would present it. I said, okay, I'd better make it actually look presentable instead of just like, here's the data. So yeah, I sent it to a couple different groups, and it got passed up, all the way to the president of the university. So I don't know if that means anything or not. I didn't hear anything about, I don't think they were really necessarily making a decision. They just kind of wanted to see visually what does the data look like. And those bar charts I was showing before, those were what they were looking at already. So they already had the data, they just had it in a different visual. And like I said, I thought those bar charts were effective, so I'm not trying to replace them or take away from that work. But because I could and because I did it, I didn't even do it during work hours. I just thought, let's see if we can do it. And then I showed it to my boss, and she said, "Oh, this is really nice. You know, can I share it?" So she shared it. So yeah, I don't think any like specific decisions have been made based on it, but I don't know. I think the possibility is there. Any other questions online?
Nope.
Okay.
Thank you, Fred.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Trevor's next? Yeah. The button to turn it on is there. If you want my contact info too, there's my name and office and email address.
Okay. My name is Trevor Jennings. Today we're presenting on Tableau new features and then also Tableau Prep. So first I want to get into what is Tableau Prep, why use it, is it different than Tableau Desktop, and when to use Tableau Prep. Does anyone actually use Tableau Prep? So new 2018.1, so it's not available in 10.5, but when we do upgrade, it'll be available. Tableau Prep is a new tool and just make presenting data easy and intuitive. You can use Tableau Prep to combine, shape, clean your data for analysis in Tableau. Tableau Prep helps you explore, clean, integrate, and reshape your data. If your primary goal is to perform one of those tasks, then it's a good sign Tableau Prep might be good for you. Is it different than Tableau Desktop? The answer is yes. So you use Tableau Prep to clean your data, make sure you get your data source, and then you export that data source use it into Tableau Desktop to create your visualizations. So when to use Tableau Prep, I kind of touched on that a little bit, but when multiple steps are needed to reshape, integrate, and transform your data, and to make it useful in your visualizations. So I want to create a scenario. So imagine you're working with sales data for both marketing and finance. However, finance needs cost information at the granularity of individual orders, while marketing needs survey information at the granularity of individual products. In the past, you needed to pick two different data sources, with the majority of information being the same, but you would have to duplicate your work in order to get the two different audiences their information. However, in Tableau Prep, you can create those two different data sources all at one time. So let's kind of see what that would look like in Tableau Prep. So this is Tableau Prep using that scenario. Tableau Prep is laid out into three different panes. First one is the flow, second one is the profile, and the third one is the data grid. I'll touch on kind of what each one of those is. So this is the flow pane. So this is your canvas. You use the connections, the different data sources. I don't have a laser pointer, but these are you can see orange pills under orange, blue, purple, and dark blue pills. You can actually see what transformations have been done on your data in order to combine it to create all orders. This is your profile pane. So in the center of the workspace is the profile pane. The profile pane shows how to structure your data at any point of the flow. The structured data can be presented in different ways depending on the operation you want to perform or the steps you select in the flow pane. So right now, corporate is selected in this segment, and it shows 510 rows, and each segment, where the state, the row ID, order ID, all highlights when corporate is selected because the corporate has pairs with that data. So those data points have a corporate segment. So it's like, well, that's nice, but I actually want to see what the kind of data looks like. That's what the third pane is for, called the data grid. So this is what the actual data will look like once you export it into your, you use your data source for Tableau desktop. So I have a quick example of what some data cleaning, and use it for Tableau Desktop. So let's say I have UI system purchases. I have source A from UIUC, source B from UIUC, and then source C from UIS. So sorry. So for my example, we can see that the dates are different for UIUC, UIC, and UIS. We can see that the amounts are different. UIUC uses without any decimal places. UIC uses decimal places and a negative sign. However, UIS uses the parentheses to indicate negatives. We can also see that the states are laid out differently. Tableau Prep allows you to is intuitive, and it will actually help clean your data in order to make sure it's all the right formats, all the same languages. So when you put your data together, it actually has a nice symmetry to it, and you can actually use this without any issues. You can see the dates are cleaned up. The amounts are all in one particular way with decimal places or parentheses for the negatives, and then the states are cleaned. So now this would actually become, using those resources, you combine to clean it up. That would actually be your data source for Tableau.
Trevor, the people online are having trouble seeing the slide because you're showing the presentation view on the machine. I don't know if you can change that for them.
I didn't change anything.
You can maybe just escape on the presentation view for this particular one and then see if that works. I don't know, that doesn't have to be big. I'm not sure what would be helpful.
No, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Can they see it now?
They said it's still the same.
It's still the same.
Are they seeing anything?
Yeah, they're seeing what he showed, I think, when he went out of presentation view.
Like that now?
Yes, that's.
Okay. You can maybe zoom it a little bit towards the bottom. Maybe.
Under the monitors, if you keep going up and to the right, you see the drop-down box that says automatic, right in the middle.
Oh.
Under that.
Yeah.
Now do it.
Oh, thank you.
You see it now?
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So, in order to if you want to get started on Tableau Prep, it's easy to get started. You would actually have to download from Tableau.com, and then you also need to ask for a product key in order to use it. To please ask your rep, and then the slides will be available afterwards. And here are some of the websites I use to help build my presentations. If there's any questions or any follow-up, or you want some information on it, then those are easily available for you. Next thing I want to talk about is Tableau upgrade. So I want to put it in two different sections. First be 10.5 to 18.1, and then 18.1 to 18.2.
Trevor, there's a question online.
Yes.
Are there classes online that show how to use the software?
Yeah, there's classes online for it. I think I think one of the sites actually uses kind of explains into what actually a Tableau Prep is and how to use it and where to go from there. So a couple of things I want to touch on from upgrade from 10.5 to 18.1. This is not all of the upgrades, I believe, but these are some ones I wanted to highlight. And those were the user types, authoring new data on the web, and then design views. And there's multiple sections under design views I'm going to cover today. So user types. So in 10.5, you primarily had a desktop and online. In 18.1, you actually have Creator, which consists of desktop and prep, Tableau Explorer, and Tableau Viewer. If you have any questions on those or want to get into that, just please ask your Tableau rep. Author and view data on the web. So you'll, with a Creator license, you connect the data directly in your browser, upload Excel documents, cloud-based, any type of data source, and actually onto the web, put your data, connect to the web, and then actually create your visualizations on the web using the data that you imported. Using data sources to prepare your data analytics. Analysts create joins, add new data sources, clean your data, and then use data interpreter and more. You can also resize the headers on the web and height of the columns. So you can actually, instead of the web being a tool to actually view the data, you can actually go in and play with it, add data sources, add data, add information in order to help your visualizations look better or get to the end goal of what you would like. Touch on, you can add toolbars, obviously can enable and accessible or to access toolbars, so you can comment, download the viewer, and or share with others. So the first step, or one of the first sections under the design views and analyze data, is apply step lines and jump lines. So this is one of the new features. Under Mark's line step, you can actually go in and look at your previous graph, and then you actually use the step lines to actually map out where your data, where your graphs are going in kind of an easy read format rather than bar charts. So a new feature, like, well, I had the visualization, I can't figure out why this won't work. I want to move it to something else. In this case, they want to move to a block spot. And they actually, new features that actually give you tips on why this is not working. So in this, for example, not enough marks in the view to show box plots. So there are, in the analytics pane, the analytics object are varied based on the current state of the data in the visualization. For example, you can apply trend lines to the view when it contains stacked marks. Tooltip analytics explain why the analytic object isn't available, or provide a tip on what is required to use the object in the view. So this is a new feature called filter hierarchy data. So when your data contains hierarchies, you can use filters for all values in a hierarchy option. Your filtering experience now matches the parent-child relationship in the hierarchy. So my example here is all values in the hierarchy, so it's showing all, not filtering for what it is, for what was selected previously. Now you can actually look at all of them, and then click your filters and go from there. Oops. So dual axis mapping, I thought this was a pretty neat feature. So rather than now you can create dual axis maps from a combination of Tableau generated latitude and longitude fields and a custom latitude and longitude field. In the chart with dual axes, you can now synchronize dual axes for numeric data types that will match. For example, the single axis is that use integer data and then use decimal type data. This is the example that came up, 2 different maps, 2 different data points, and we're actually going to, you can actually combine those for geographical points. And I combine the 2 maps together, and actually those points are actually all on the map. So it's a very neat feature if you have 2 different data sets, data maps that you want to combine. Next thing I want to talk about is, so that wraps up the 10.5 to 18.1. Now I'm going to touch on the 18.1 to 18.2. And the three features that I want to highlight today are the Tableau Bridge, design, views, and the analyze data, and collaborate with Tableau Online and Server. So Data Bridge, it is a standalone application. For published sources, you cannot, you cannot refresh directly on Tableau Online. You can use the Data Bridge to keep this data fresh. Use Tableau Bridge when the published data source connects to your data and maintain behind a firewall on your network. Like I mentioned, it's a standalone application from Tableau Desktop. It is available online for you to download if you need to. If you do have any questions, again, just ask your Tableau rep for it. You can use Data Bridge in the following ways: maintain live connections to on-premise data, or maintain published extract data sources that Tableau Online cannot refresh directly. Tableau Bridge is an online sync, the online sync client plus the live query functionality. So they did have online sync, now they have Tableau Bridge that includes the live functionality with it. Bridge was released previously in 10.3 to replace the client sync, but looks like they've made some updates to it. So nested sorts. So now you can Nexus. So I'm going to touch on this in the Tableau conference that I read, or one of the visualizations. Nested sorts on operations. You can actually use both axes to create calculated fields and combine dimensions. So this is sales data. So look, sales data combined for all regions in your country. In the view below, you can actually see the central region sells more chairs. This chairs subcategory than in your subcategory. However, it's harder to compare how chairs rank in other regions. To see which subcategories rank highest in each region, you might want to sort the subcategories in each region. Instead, you can do this with nested sorting. You can see which is highest instead of sorting by central and chairs. You can sort by whichever is highest based on the region itself. So I kind of touched on this previously. I think Chris, you had about dashboard extensions. They're kind of useful tools, and there's quite a few of them. I think there's 19 available on the Tableau website at this time. I think I might have mentioned more. They're adding more as the versions increase. Some of those extensions increase the dashboard functionality with custom objects created by third-party developers. With the extensions, you can add some new features and unique things to your dashboard. Some of the ones I want to highlight was Performance Insights, Dashboard Usage Monitor, and Export All. You can actually, with Dashboard Insights, you can measure your dashboard performance and receive expert advice on performance improvements. Dashboard Usage actually monitor your dashboard interactions with Google Analytics to improve your usability. And then Export All, you can actually export all this into a single Excel workbook and use it. That will have your Tableau charts as well. Some minor enhancements with data views was to actually have grids, so you can line up your data when you're doing your dashboard, and preview while dragging. So if you hold and click on your floating objects, you actually see what it will look like in your data graph. So I think we're all on the go every now and then. Sometimes if you ever want to look at your dashboard to figure out what's going on, you can, well, I don't have my phone. Now Tableau actually does that. It actually size the dashboards correctly and actually view them on your mobile phone. So when you're on the go, you can actually look at these things and if you don't have your computer. So the next one is better collaboration. You can actually include colleagues on data conversation and include filtered views in your comments. So to engage people about their conversation or review, you at whatever their name is. As you begin to type the name, matching people Tableau accounts in your organization will appear, and you can choose from them. The comments section is located on the toolbar above of you, and you can include and notify when you include them, it'll notify them via email. If you filter the view, click the snapshot icon to share the interactive image in the comment section, and you can actually detail what you're actually seeing below. It's kind of a neat feature. It allows you to explore your data and then explain it to other people, saying, "Hey, this is what I'm actually seeing. Is this good? What do you think?" You can actually give your insights. So from 10.5 to 18.2 here are the websites I used in order to help put this together. They'll be available after the desktop, or excuse me, the slides will be available after the presentation for you to actually look at this if you'd like to. That's all I had. Is there any questions?
Yeah, there are a couple of questions online. The first one is, do we now have a university license for Tableau Prep, or does each department have to purchase their own license? And
okay, so there is a question on, is there a university license for Tableau Prep, or each department have their own license? My response to that would be, if you know your Tableau rep, please contact them in order to get this information. I do not have that information at this time, but your Tableau rep would know that.
Well, if you have a Tableau desktop license or the new Tableau Creator license, it comes together. So if you already have a desktop license, it should be the same. It should be included with that.
Okay. So currently, as was mentioned here, if you have a Tableau desktop license currently, you can use the Tableau Prep, and in order to use that as well, it should integrate over.
I have a question. I tried to know the answer. I was understanding that if you have a license as like April last year, that Tableau app comes, it's free up until like 18 months. So basically, that kind of like I do think that there is an opportunity for you to have a laptop. You already have existing desktop right now for free. I don't know how long that is, so just check with your mobile app.
Thank you.
yep. The second one, are there many online users at UFI, and what's the pricing model for that? Whom should we contact for getting Tableau online licenses?
Is the question, how do you get Tableau online licenses?
Yes. How many online users we have, and what's the pricing model, and how do they get Tableau online licenses?
The pricing model, I would not know that. That is above my pay grade and my title. So that's up to your higher ups in whatever department you might be associated in.
Email,
Yeah, architecture. Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure what our support model is for Tableau Online at this point. So we would need Mike or Jay Ash, who neither are here right now, to help us answer that.
If you didn't hear that online, so we were not sure what the model is for that, or support model. Yeah, I think AITS support model for that. Jay Ash or Mike Wunderlich at AITS would probably be able to better answer that question, and unfortunately they're not here right now. But
please email.
Yeah.
We can back to you appropriate.
yeah, if you would please, you can please email us or them, and then we'll get back to you as soon as we can.
Any more?
Any other questions?
No. Nope. Do we have one in the room? No. Okay. Thank you.
is Ashley Hallett. I work with wonderful people at Decision Support. These are just some quotes I had found on the topic of data preparation. My job is a data architect, so I do lots of this every day. I mostly deal with SQL data, obviously, because that's what we use at the data warehouse. The benefit of Tableau is that that's not what you have to use. You can combine all those things, and that's awesome, but it also gets messy sometimes. One of the previous Tableau user group meetings, we had some questions. Someone was having some trouble getting some data in, and I didn't have the answer because it wasn't SQL data, but I thought that this might be a neat forum to try and talk about some of these things. And this is obviously a very common problem. These will be up with the rest of the slides. I don't really feel like I need to read to you guys. So my goal for this time is ideally have a discussion with like-minded individuals on a topic near and dear to my heart. And it's very important to get good data analysis. You have to have your data set up in a way to help you with that. And then failing that, I just wanted to make sure that the group knew that there are places you can go to get resources. If I personally don't know them, we can always maybe help you find someone who can. And then just generically, I'm thinking of data preparation as everything that happens before the fun visualization part that we really like to talk about. So for the purpose of discussion, just generically, anything before that step is what I'm trying to focus on here. So I came up with some questions. These are just my questions, things I'm curious about. But if you have better questions for the group, please feel free. I'm hoping that some of these might be something that someone has feedback on. Anything jump out?
And this is my full-time job. So with the Auxiliary scenarios, my position was created in February, and they had basically no connection to any university data. So my whole job has been getting so we consider office minority affairs eligible students make up 38% of all undergrads on campus. So my data is often undergraduate-wide campus data from the study, and matching that with our who goes to our mentoring program, who goes to tutoring, who came into the office. And then when you want to cross-reference that by, all right, are these students first-generation students? Are they, what's their racial, ethnic minority status? What's, did they have a fee waiver when they came in? So most of my job is actually focusing out all of these attributes from one variable, and then the student attribute data column, matching all of our data, and then putting it in a dashboard. So the most difficult thing in Tableau is when you have more than one data row per individual student. So battling that and getting the sums and counts to work right on a dashboard is the most difficult thing that I've had to figure out.
Okay. Does anyone have any comments they'd like to add to that? Yeah.
I work at data analysts and data college areas. We're pretty good at prepping our data first when Microsoft SQL Server was open specific Tableau, but there are a couple of specific Tableau challenges that was recently. First, how to communicate between Microsoft SQL Server and Tableau. Right now, we just export our finished data to Excel and then use Excel as the data source.
Okay.
Tableau has restrictions and concepts of flakiness, ongoing stored procedures, and things that would actually do what they require correctly. Another challenge has been creating color measures once things are in Tableau.
Okay.
I think a common problem that guys might face if you're showing where students are coming from. Like in Illinois, almost everyone is from Cook County. So if you do a map of Illinois and vote by color for how many students are coming from which county, then Cook is dark blue, the rest of everything is white. So it's just things like that to compress the colors a little more so that the downstate counties show up a little more readily.
Yeah. Can you repeat a little bit of what you say because I read that online?
Sure. So we first started talking about combining the student minority data, and you mentioned specifically that one of the more complicated things is the grain, is having some of your data at a multiple row per student level and some of it not, especially in Tableau. And then we heard from Atlas, and they mentioned specifically sourcing data from SQL Server was problematic. And then, in remembering the math, getting the gradients right so that when all of your data seems to come, most of your data seems to come from one place, still getting the shading correct, like for Chicago and Cook County. Yes. You mentioned that would be data preparation due to the need to create the countermeasure as a nuance of Tableau that you probably wouldn't do otherwise. Yes. Oh, do we have one online?
Well, I've been asked, sorry to interrupt, I've been asked that if you have something to contribute, if you have a question or discussion, they would ask you online as asking for to please introduce yourself and unit affiliation before, before answering your question.
Will they hear anything with the microphone?
No.
No.
Okay.
This is the hard part about the remote session. If you feel comfortable, you can talk to the.
Yeah, you're more than welcome.
If you have like a story or something that you feel is really useful for other people, please feel free. I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable by any means. Otherwise, we'll just have our names. I think try to microphone or contact around us still the capture to the so until we get audio video a feed, we'll just have to do our best. I'll apologize for anybody on the phone. But anyhow, so
Okay.
Turn it up.
Yeah.
I just want to follow up on that. I just want to understand the problem is just that markers are so hard when you have county and you're going back to county. That's why
For a world map, almost everyone's from the rest. The rest of China's out pretty well, but the numbers for other nations are so much lower that it's hard for them to show up.
Right. So one thing I was going to mention is, and I've seen decision report with this. It's not a data prep solution, but it's more a visual solution. You use stories feature in the dashboard. You could have your here's the state of Illinois, Cook County is just dominated, and that's one view of the data, which is true. You view the data in a way that you use all those details, and you have like another view of the data, like there's a story that is maybe just the Chicago area, so that's like the big complex districts. The Illinois that you use like data website, so then you could maybe take people through that, and it's like, okay, and then maybe other visits. This is what it looks like with Cook County, those are out, and then you can see those things pop up. And another thing I've seen that maybe helps a little bit with the coloring. You have maps and countries you use circles instead of colors. You say like, okay, this is a big circle on Cook County. Here's the smaller circles. So I don't know if that helps. Again, it's not data.
But what they did is just use the log of the student count, so that the higher numbers are compressed.
Yeah.
Or what you can do is just use contracts. Just use breaks instead of use breaks that Tableau use that in the number breaks. Use one contract, and then instead of plotting the actual number, you're plotting the content. Therefore, you have 5 or whatever is like that. because I'm using that for coding the country data in the US. So you have country like this, and I'll also that's just helped me a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of the how approach and art.
So that's good.
Okay. So we had some suggestions for using quartiles of data. We had some suggestions for using different shapes instead of the full fill to help get that gradient across as well. Does anyone else have the problem with the SQL Server connection? Is that unique to you guys? Okay. Have you? Does the ODBC connections not work? I haven't actually tried it with SQL Server, so I'm not sure.
It's fine if they carry just table stored procedures. If you have a stored procedure that gives us temp tables in place now,
Okay.
I haven't figured out exactly when it's okay and when it's not. Sometimes it's okay, sometimes it's not.
Okay. What is the stored procedure doing? Is it actively changing the data, or is it just generating a portion of the data?
It's kind of separated into numbers.
Okay. Is there any reason why you wouldn't store that information?
Yeah, that's probably what the line of doing.
Oh, okay.
Also, I don't know if it's relevant, but sometimes it's like you set no count. Otherwise, if you have temp tables, otherwise it's counting those. Yeah, I put the numbers for the temp tables, and then it gets used. I just had that problem the other day. Once I turn on set no count for stored procedures, we'll find more Tableau.
Okay. So we had some pointers on Tableau calling stored procedures, and the set no count feature can interfere with Tableau pulling that data out. Anything else? Okay. Anyone here use non-SQL data? No. That's what you do?
No, but I don't know.
Great.
I'm using Tableau right now. And so what I'm doing right now is just get up processes, use ATL processes, get any that this for the process of that.
Okay.
And they would use that, right, or you that kind of process. So, just see how to do that, get that different information of that ETL process. If you found that database, then I like it more and
Okay. So what sources are you using now? Is it all in databases now and you're just compiling it? Is that what's happening?
I can get it yeah. See it with all that. Like consistent high, all that.
Okay.
And go ahead and see so that databases and all that. Now I can work
Okay.
If there anything existing those in Tableau.
I'm not sure if I'm fully understanding the question.
I may not have a ton of information, maybe I'll make sure that I have, and I'm going to paraphrase for you.
Thank you.
Did I hear that you're using SPSS? Did you say something about data mining?
I'm using Microsoft definitely success.
Okay.
So that will getting my data so I can have text.
Correct.
I can have CSV files, and I can just like check messaging, right? That's
Right.
A perfect example of what I think is and will continue to grow in challenges for campus. We are a large institution. Departments use a plethora of different types of software out there, even just singularly talking about data mining tools, SPSS, there are many other types of data mining tools that people are choosing to use. However, R, Python, those types of scripts are being used for you guys to do your analysis for your particular research or whatever. I'm not if it's research or if it's just data that you're taking from other sources. And I worked with an office that's doing something similar. they're taking data from literally that's being inputted into SQL Server. They're exporting it out, inputting it into a data mining tool, doing some statistical analysis, and then they're trying to figure out how, once that's pumped out, because they need it for other reasons, that they're for their research grant deliverables, and then they want to also take that and then visualize it for people. So then they want to take it and then put it back into kind of like take the non-statistical p-values and all these other types of things, which if I was that smart, I would be working other places, maybe. I don't know. But the point that I'm trying to make is that they're actually talking about taking that data, and my whole when working with them was to say, oh, well, maybe you want to take that data, reload it into SQL Server, and then connect that way. They chose to go and put it into spreadsheets because it was simpler. They were already in spreadsheets, and then they basically manually manipulated all that data. So as far as the data preparation discussion, I think that the challenges that are being faced on campus are much, that's just an example that I personally was involved in. But for yourself, being new to Tableau, people are having those same challenges and how they're using their data for other purposes, and then they want to visualize it. So it's something that I think is a challenge that other people are facing, and that's why this discussion is something that we're here just to kind of help you guys maybe just have connections together. So if you know somebody else is having the same challenge, that you can have those discussions. Yes. Exactly. Thank you. That was a great segue to
just grass, and we have a solution.
What was that?
All the issues grass, and we have a solution.
Okay. So basically, there was another person in the room who was sitting in back of the gentleman who just had the question, and she was explaining that they have the same challenges, and we are going to. I would imagine you guys can talk about it.
Work on that in
Perfect. Thank you. I'll let you take the talk. Sure. Yeah.
Starting in SQL Server 2016, we have our services. 2017, we became machine services and so that would give you a way to do statistical analysis in databases, basically. Sorry. I know Tableau has some support for following out their scripts, and I don't know why Python scripts now, but that become an option, at the IHETUG on Tableau server.
I do not know the answer to that.
In one of the keynotes that they did at the Tableau conference this week, they announced that they're going to be including the ability to connect with Python and R right directly within Tableau. And I think that'll be in 2019. So
Okay, so that was a question about R and Python being able to be called directly from Tableau? Is that the question?
I think there's like script, or script landing commands. You can create calculated fields, calculated measures. Calling your R script directly is inside that script rule function, but you have to have an R server that actually processes script in there. So
Gotcha.
So I'm wondering if that would be available on Tableau server at some point.
That would be a question we can take back.
yeah, definitely. I'm taking notes right now.
To Kurt on that
We're going
one.
to take back and talk to our architecture group when we get back.
I would encourage you to go on the, I think the IHETUG is secret because it's really going to give a lot of information as far as how the conference was considered, and Rick is correct. I think there 2019, there's a lot of stuff that's coming down the pipe in regards to what you were referencing.
Great, yeah, Chris.
Just to add on, I'm 99% sure that I watched the presentation online was explained by Microsoft using ER and Python as a sort of solution. Services now with Tableau. If I remember correctly, they were using sort of procedures, which you mentioned earlier, and they take these sort of procedures like information from a drop down in Tableau, feed that through our Python services, in Python video, and then get that in Tableau all within the server environment. So I'll try to find that link that I used. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I think I actually skimmed it. So I can send that to the group where you can send it to with that hash or anything. Send it on if you're interested.
So it sounds like there was a way to utilize the Python and R functions within SQL Server to then feed into Tableau.
Yeah, and even take stuff from Tableau and get it back.
Gotcha. And loop it through to process it that way. Okay.
Someday that'll be done directly within Tableau.
Yes.
Yes, they did announce that, and the crowd that was there was very excited.
Yeah.
I have the data preference issue, and anyone else has to deal with this, but I have to kind of deal with dirty address data, postal service data. I know this is, yeah. Anytime I deal with it, fortunately, I don't have to have it very often. I just have to know if I kind of have to what products to use, and there's always like ArcGIS, geocoding that, install ArcGIS, and do all that outside of SQL, outside of Tableau, and bring it in. I know there's RTA services, but I don't think these versus my licenses are like blanket licenses, and just have to pay. I don't want to like spend 40 hours in address data.
All right, so that's a question about dirty address data. Does anyone in the group use this data? Does anyone have any suggestions? Can anyone commiserate?
I don't have anything, sorry, I don't have anything directly, but I think, looking at some of the Tableau Prep features, I think Tableau Prep actually may help that, because it is intuitive, it is smart, and actually it can actually help you clean up your data. So I think that may be an option for you in order to explore that route.
A suggestion of Tableau Prep to help clean up that data. And over here?
Check with services, because we've had newsletters that we send out, and you get the bulk rate they have to run it through a postal program. It basically throws out all that.
Interesting.
So they might either, tell you how they get access to it.
Okay, there's a suggestion to check with printing services.
Yeah, if you have a newsletter, like a newsletter send out to 50,000 people, and then you have to run it through there.
They have a piece of software, so it would be something to ask about.
And there's a option that you can use Python. There's a library that you can query Google Maps. So if you do contain data, and they can give you out. The only thing that I think how you do south, protect data very. Otherwise, it's not an island. But you can retrieve that and go for a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a Python library that deals with this and references the Google Maps data?
Yeah.
Okay. Those are some neat suggestions. Any other things stymieing you? Okay. Anything online?
Well, first of all, maybe this was a while back. Somebody asked if we could repeat the non-SQL data comment, and tried to go back and recall what that comment was.
We were talking about the wide variety of data that's trying to be pulled in, and the different options there are to, but I think the discussion was on it going into SQL Server, but then where, and then we had someone who said they worked with this before, if that's correct.
Okay.
I have a question. In the group, or I know that you're you're a data architect of sort, but you use the ETL tool, or not your stuff, but
Yes.
department that you were using, Informatica. I know that certain towns, what other kind of, besides data prep, Tableau, Informatica in the room outside of copy and pasting manually, are anyone using to help make data?
Yeah, we have a question on what sort of tools everybody's using. If you're not doing it manually, what software are you using?
SAS.
SAS. Are you using the SAS prep option or just generically? Okay, the basic?
Just SAS, so basically you're writing SAS scripts and you're creating text tables and then most likely and using those tools to
Okay, what else? Hyperpig. Okay. Open Refine. I haven't heard of that one. Okay, interesting. Anyone else?
A little bit of our, there's a DIR library that does there are a bunch of what's called libraries that are covered for other tidy users that help split up, transform, manipulate data. There's different shapes. But I usually don't have to resort to that.
Okay, so we have R, and that's manually coding, or does it have like some preset stuff as well?
I don't know if they're presets. I think it doesn't have any.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. We use Informatica Data Warehouse. Just in case anyone was curious. Anything else? Yeah.
Has anyone tried Alteryx for data prep?
Question of anyone trying Alteryx for data prep? We're getting some no's, shaking heads. Okay, sounds like no.
Have you, Chris?
Yeah. I know at the Tableau Bridge, like Alteryx, there's a lot of main sponsor partners.
Yeah.
A lot of heavy Tableau users.
Interesting.
Use Alteryx. Before Tableau data prep, those two together. Just a very architecture thing is what I thought. It's very expensive.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is on our list to look at as well. So.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for actually talking. I appreciate that I didn't just stand up here and listen to crickets. And feel free to keep this conversation going, or if you come up with new questions, send them out and we'll see if we can't try and match people up who might have some answers. Did you want to finish up?
I'll be sending out.
Basically, I'll be sending out the slides. I'll the email that you've seen for the invitations to the meetings. You'll get a link to the presentation, and then just upcoming. But I really want to encourage everybody to. This is a really great forum, and I. Again, thank you for coming, and for the people on the phone, thank you for hanging in there. I know that the discussion is a little frustrating when you're not in the room. We do our best to keep the conversation flowing, so thank you for hanging in there. And I do plan on coming to Chicago, setting up something in hopefully by the new year, in January sometime. So if you're interested, we'll make sure that we have a presence there as well. Trevor?
Someone mentioned, may we have a Slack group or something like that so we can ask Tableau-like questions within our community?
Yes. I'm sorry, was it you said a Slack group?
Slack.
A Slack group.
Communication tool.
The other campuses have teams.
They do. I know that there was a group that was recently, a Tableau user group that was recently created, that was a UIC Tableau user group. I cannot remember the person who was the founder of that group, but I've been in contact with them before, so I will reach out to them after this and see where they are with their meeting schedule in the future as well, for people in Chicago. I know that there's 3 other Tableau user groups that aren't affiliated to the University of Illinois in Chicago that they're very mature groups that have been around. One is from, is it the, oh my goodness, I'm gonna say the wrong one, I just know it. DePaul? No. DePaul. Thank you so much. DePaul, and so forth. So, but please, anybody who wants to start something, you are more than welcome to start something as hard as you want to run the phone remotely if you feel that you would like to go in that direction.
I've been asked to please share the groups, so we can probably maybe send that out afterwards, the different groups, Tableau groups.
Share the group?
Yeah, the Tableau. Yeah, we can put the different Tableau users.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I will send an email out, and within that, I'll have a link to this presentation, and I'll also put some links into those other groups.
And looks like one final question said, he said I needed to go to the customer portal. Do you know where I can find that? I'm not sure what that referencing.
That was.
I would just Google Tableau customer portal. That's how I always get to it.
There was a question about the customer portal, and a person in the room there, Ryan, thank you. Ryan suggested to Google Tableau customer portal. He said it was a little difficult to find on the website through Tableau, so he's encouraging people to Google Tableau customer portal. That's helpful. Anyone else? Great. Thanks again. We'll have another one and hopefully early spring. And see you soon. Thanks again.